Hello, and hello and welcome to episode 2 of our work in progress. Oh shoot, I have it open. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, let's restart that because I just had the Twitch in the background. Okay. Twitch getting the inside. Hello and welcome to our second episode of our work in progress. So
Hello.
Yeah. So this week we were thinking about going into conspiracies that we may or may not believe, as well as kind of just talking about discussing that stuff. So,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we also decided that we're gonna at the beginning of each podcast talk a little bit about our week, since this is gonna be like a weekly thing. So Matteo, start us off.
all right. Well, I think the most interesting thing that happened uh, this last week is me and my friend from high school are trying to put together a D&D campaign. So I got my first set of die from like the whatever game shop. And so we're working with that, and actually later on today I'm going to finish up my character, and hopefully start on Thursday. So that's kind of cool.
That's very exciting.
Worked at a different location than I normally do. So, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. There's too much else exciting going on in my life besides I went to Olive Garden earlier in the week. That was pretty fun. Um,
Honestly, the highlight of my life is Olive Garden. I love Olive Garden. Um, I had a pretty typical week, I guess. I mean, it wasn't that typical. I was at home, hung out with some friends, especially Mateo.
Hello.
Um, didn't do a lot else. Spent several hours in airports and on planes on Saturday. But I made it home and I had my first day of film class today, so that was very exciting. But yeah, that's about it. Not a lot going on in my life right now, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Not a lot really going on in my life in general, so
Do you want to jump on into some conspiracy theories?
yeah, sure.
I
So
had I had the idea. Sorry to interrupt
no,
you.
okay.
I had the idea that we should guess what each other's conspiracy theories are, like
Oh,
before, just like as a cute little fun thing, you know. It
yeah.
it would take like 5 seconds. Okay, so I'm gonna guess that did you did maybe the flat Earth theory and don't don't get offended, but
Okay.
maybe you did something about 9/11.
You
Those are
know,
my guesses.
I thought about it. I actually did. I did think about it. I was thinking like if I was gonna do any kind of conspiracy, like the first thing that pops into my head was like 9/11, because obviously that's like one of the bigger conspiracies that people
Right.
talk about. Like jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams, which I mean I kind of see it more as at that point as a joke, because I feel like
Right, yeah,
with that kind of
definitely.
stuff it's I don't know, it's not like it's disrespectful to have skepticism, but at the same time when
Definitely.
you talk about it in certain ways, people may or may not get with it or like appreciate it or whatever. You know what I mean? So
Definitely. I just thought like I mean, you did say that you thought about it, so
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like half right. Not
yeah.
really.
So, um, oh, I don't,
Yeah,
I
so
don't
what's
even
the
have
next?
any clue. I know about some conspiracy theories, but I'm not too big into it like on my own. So, what if I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of like what would she do as a conspiracy, and it's not nothing's really popping up in my head immediately.
That's
Um,
okay. It was
so
just my like small idea.
yeah.
We can just get right into
All
it.
right. Well, okay.
You
So
want to go first?
yeah, so now the first thing I wanted to bring up, and this is okay, this is actually insane. And this is one that I don't know if I personally believe, but if I were to believe any conspiracy that comes up, like anything big that comes up, this would probably be like one of them. And mainly
Yeah.
because like I there's there's a a place in Illinois that has a road. Uh, Obviously, there's a couple different roads in
Oh my
Illinois,
god.
but no, but this road has, I think, 8 mattress firms on it
Oh my god.
in a skit.
Shane Dawson who?
But here's the thing. This is so local. I've driven by these mattress firms, and this is like there's one in Texas and one in Illinois where there's like a stretch of road that has all these mattress firms, and like it's something that happens like pretty consistently where I drive by these mattress firms. So it's like so there's like 8 of them. So okay, explain to me this. How come there are so many of these stores which never seem like they have any people in them, and they're so
So
condensed.
it's the same brand mattress store, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're competing.
Well, but here's the thing. Sleepy's apparently used to be the big dog, but like in between like 2011 and 2016, 2017, something like that. Mattress firm, the company itself acquired like 10 like 11 different mattress companies. So there's like so
So
that's why there's so many of them.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Like they bought out the competition,
Mhm.
and
So
now they have so many mattress firms
yeah. So now
on the same like block.
the conspiracy itself isn't that there's a ton of mattress firms, because that's just the truth. That's just
Right.
reality.
That's the reality of the situation.
But now people, it started on Reddit. Someone pointed out like there's all these mattress firms, and I guess at one point like mattress firm itself was bought by like a South. It was either, I think it was a South American company, and they apparently one of the guy like the CEO resigned, and there was like weird issues with like inconsistencies in their finances, and it's like, well, you know,
Embezzlement?
embezzlement, mattress firm might be a front for like selling illegal things.
But why have so many?
Well, I
If it's like an under the table thing, you know what I mean?
yeah, and
Like
that's
why be
where
so
yeah,
obvious?
I
You don't
saw
like have so many
mhm.
stores.
Yeah, I saw one post on it that was they were, because they had so many, they were a competition at one point, but now they're right on top of each other because they merged the companies, and now they're all like mattress firms instead of Sleepy's and all these other different like mattress companies, right?
Right.
So now they're on top of each other, but they don't want to keep it that way. Like they're gonna try and space them out as much as they can, but uh with that kind of thing, like with mattresses, like there's such a high margin of profit when it comes to mattresses, and it's like, if you made like 10 million in a year, right? 3 million of that could have been for like drugs or something like that, and then the other 7 million could be for just like the actual mattress sale, because like extra money is going to be shady whenever you're like, if it's not coming from somewhere, the government's going to want to know where it's coming from.
Right. It's a very interesting conspiracy, but it makes sense because I mean, people only buy mattresses every so often. You know, like they
Yeah.
last you like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wouldn't you knock down the other stores?
Yeah, because yeah, exactly. Because people buy mattresses maybe like once every 10 years, if you're being
Yeah,
generous. Like
right.
there's not people aren't looking at getting a new mattress every year or every week even. Like that's a difference.
Right?
But like, I mean, I don't think our family has bought a mattress since like I switched from a crib. So I don't
Yeah, no, definitely.
yeah, so that's um there was another thing too, but I don't recall. It was the company that bought all the mattress firm stuff got in hot water for something. And I guess there was weird issues. So yeah, like I said, the CEO of that company that acquired mattress firm stepped down. Um, Now they obviously like denied all the claims and stuff like that. But even like if it was the case where they were actually doing that, then of course they're gonna deny it. You know?
Oh, well, definitely. Why would they admit to like what they might actually
Yeah.
be doing?
Yeah.
But like I think about it, right? Like people probably buy mattresses for themselves like maybe one or two times in their entire lifetime.
Yeah. I
So
like.
like why a mattress store? Unless the idea is that the mattress stores are always usually empty.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can always have like people coming in looking for mattresses in air quotes, but they're actually doing drug deals.
Yeah. Big
I
big
don't know. This is
big boy
just
drug
my
deals.
my contribution to the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know. Personally, I think it's really interesting because I live in one of the two towns where there's or like live near one of the two towns that where it's super populated with those stores. Like I'll just drive down and it's like there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. And so when the conspiracy came up, I'm like, this is my life. I live this. I was questioning why there were so many mattress firms in general before like this started becoming popular. So
Yeah, like whether or not this conspiracy theory is actually true, there is the question of why are there so many mattress firms?
yeah.
It is unnecessary for there to be that many.
Yeah.
Like, cause I like after I had heard about that, um, I did notice that there were a lot of mattress stores near where I live as well. I mean, I live in Illinois, but
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a very interesting conspiracy theory, and it's very like very small. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like mine are kind of big, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
I'm sorry I didn't reach for the sky as far as you
Oh
did.
no, that's okay. I was having some issues coming up with like conspiracy theories,
Mhm.
but then I realized like, oh, this is one I really like,
What is
and
it? What
oh,
is it?
oh, well, it's my second one. I don't want to
Oh,
go. I
okay.
don't want to reveal it just yet. How do you want to go about this? Do you want me to come up with mine now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, my first conspiracy theory is the hollow earth theory. So, what's at the center? What? Oh my god. Why can I not speak? Oh my god. What is at the center of the earth and how do we know? Well, the central point of the earth is over 6,000 kilometers down, and the outermost part of the core is nearly 3,000 kilometers below our feet. However, the deepest hole we've ever created on the surface goes down 12.3 kilometers. So it's like, how do we know what's at the center?
Yeah.
Do we know? We do know. Well, no, we don't know. We just have theories, okay? Now we'll get to my conspiracy theory after I explain what scientists say that is at the center of the Earth. Um, so they say that most of the Earth's mass must be located towards the center of the planet because the density of the Earth is higher than the density of the material at the surface. So you have this low density of material at the surface. So everything in the middle, everything that's not at the surface, has to be has to have a higher density. So they think that an iron core would account for all of the missing mass, but we don't know because we can't go there.
Mhm.
Um, but they determined that by mapping the Earth's like S waves, um, it turns out that rocks became liquid around 3,000 kilometers down. Now, we don't know for sure, so it's very interesting to bring up the idea that maybe Earth is hollow, but not actually hollow, that there are beings, living beings inside of the Earth. Now, we are all, mostly all of us, familiar with Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne and the movies and the everyone's take on what's at the center of the Earth.
Mhm.
And there's this theory called the Hollow Earth theory that our universe lies in the interior of a hollow world, and like there's a sun and an advanced civilization inside of the earth, and like it's this big secret that the government doesn't want us to know.
Hmm.
And it's also thought that global warming is really caused by the Earth's inner sun. Interesting. Not going to go into that point later
Earth's
because I
inner
don't
sun.
know anything about that. But these theorists think that there are three openings into the Earth, two near the poles, the South Pole and the North Pole, and one in the Himalayas.
In the
Not sure
Himalayas.
who came up with these arbitrary spots, but I'm gonna get a little bit into the exciting, like who thinks this and whatever, um, because it's really interesting. There's like so many people who have claimed that they've been there and that they know about it and they have information. It's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put it into chronological order, so bear with me here.
Okay.
Basically, it started with this guy named Admiral Richard E. Byrd, and he claimed that he entered the inner Earth. He
Okay.
found this thriving civilization on his 1920 trip, and he claims that he was attacked by flying saucers that burst out of the ocean and wiped out half of his fleet. And
Mm.
he also took a 1947 expedition to the North Pole. And he has a secret diary that I found on the internet, which you have to trust the internet. Everything on there is true. Um, but basically, in the North Pole where he went, he saw woolly mammoths and lush lakes and greenery. And I read some of his diary, and like, it's a play by play. It's pretty much like, oh, well, they were flying over ice and it was normal. And then all of a sudden it was green and it was weird. And there was an elephant. No, it wasn't an elephant. It was a woolly mammoth, and it's crazy. And people believe that like Vikings and the Nazis live there, and it's
What
like
the fuck?
crazy, right?
That's yeah,
People
that's
believe people
crazy.
believe people believe that Hitler went down there, and supposedly, don't quote me on this. Hitler believed in the Hollow Earth theory,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense with his whole wanting to have this like perfect race of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, it it's a reach. It's a bit of a reach. Um, but there are so many people who believe this. In 1811, this Norwegian sailor claimed that he sailed with his dad through an entrance to the Earth's interior at the North Pole. So again, like Admiral Byrd at the North Pole, and they lived in this beautiful paradise for 2 years. Like they lived there, supposedly. This
Hmm.
is in 1811, so I don't know if we can trust them, but he also claimed that there were superhumans there and they were 12 feet tall and never got ill. Like, people think that these people who live in the inner earth are like superhumans and they have these powers and they figured out how to be immortal and they live in peace and there's no war there. Like, I don't know if these people, like, I don't know how all of these people are coming up with the same story, you know? Like,
Yeah.
unless they all, like, read about each other's stories,
Mm-hmm.
which somehow I feel like wouldn't be possible. But and then there's like modern day people who like organize voyages to go there, but for whatever reason, like this one guy Dallas Thompson sold this book about the hollow earth and he said he wanted to go there, and then all of a sudden he disappeared, like
Hmm.
gone. Just no one ever heard from him again.
I wonder where he went.
Yeah, did he go to hollow earth? Did he not go? I don't know. And then there's this other guy, Rodney Clough. He organized a voyage in 2007 to set off from Russia to find the opening. And his expedition was canceled for some reason. And so in 1981, oh wait, I'm getting this all backwards. In 1981, he flew his wife and his children from New Mexico to Alaska. And so
Mm.
they drove up this road, and there was a sign that said, "Do not go any further. This is a private road." So they moved back to New Mexico.
Hmm.
And then he tried to go there again in 2007, but his whole thing got canceled. Whatever. Like, it's really strange that all these people are like, hey, let's make this expedition, and then it gets canceled or they disappear. What's
Yeah.
happening? Is the government silencing them? What's at the center of the earth? We'll never know. Ever. Hopefully, we'll know, but I don't think we'll ever know for sure.
You
But
know. Hmm.
what do you think about this?
Well, it's very curious because then you have to think of like, well, is if that's true, then is gravity how we know it? Like, not doesn't it like goes into like a flat
Maybe
Earth
it
kind of thing.
exists. No, don't say that. The hollow Earth people and the flat Earth people hate each other
Hmm.
because one party says the Earth is flat and the other party says the Earth is shaped like a donut. So you can't get them confused. But like, how would gravity work?
Yeah, because like
How?
as we know
Why
it,
are
like
there dinosaurs there in the hollow Earth? Because if woolly mammoths are there, why are dinosaurs there? Or are
yeah,
they there? Who's there? Why won't they tell us?
yeah, because I mean, with gravity as we know it now, it's like the more mass something has, the more it is manipulating other things around it and attracting it to it.
Right.
That's why like planets around us either have more or less gravity. If they're bigger or smaller, it's why we circle around the sun because it's got an enormous amount of gravity, and it's why we don't fly off of the Earth. But if
It
you're
wouldn't
going in
make
one of those
sense for
holes,
there to be an inner sun then.
yeah,
Like, it
that.
wouldn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Unless it was like a really almost microscopic level, because at that point, like with the size of our solar system, I guess as we know it, um, it would be almost impossible to have something like that inside of our own planet. Because like we know that the sun is as far away as it is. We know that the moon is as far away as it is. You know, well, we think we know, I guess, according to this theory.
Yeah.
Because if we were to have something like that inside the Earth, not only would it would totally throw off gravity, and it would be incorrect as we knew it, or um, but like if we had another universe like inside of us with an inner sun, then because as we know it now too, like the center of the Earth is just a ball of compressed iron because of gravity keeping it you know together. So it's not even like a liquid. It's a solid like burning piece of iron that's been burning for millions and millions of years.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like this is totally unbelievable, but it inspires me creatively, which is why I like it so much.
Yeah.
It's just so it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But how did all these people come up with the same or similar stories? Do you
Yeah.
think some of the more modern people wanted attention?
I
Like,
mean,
they got a lot of attention
yeah.
for their claims and
I'm
sold books.
really. So people have like written books and sold them about this theory. I guess that
Yeah,
makes
and then like
sense.
disappeared and failed at their
Really.
expedition.
Wow. Maybe we should
So
go.
they could just maybe we should go.
maybe we should.
We'll
Maybe
make
we should figure
millions.
this out. Let's go. Let's go find the
You
the
know what?
center of the
You're
Earth.
right. You're right.
Let's
It's
take a
just
flight
so
to Alaska.
interesting to me that between 1811 and 2007 at least,
Mm-hmm.
like, people are still talking about this and people are still coming up with their stories and their theories and what they believe. It's like crazy.
Huh.
How can we prove that the earth is actually a sphere? What if it is flat?
Yeah.
What
What?
if it is hollow? Who knows?
I
I,
mean,
I believe the aliens are in there. I believe it.
the aliens are actually on Earth. Does that, by
They're
definition, make them not
inside.
aliens then, or?
Stop. I don't like that question. I'll pass on that one.
Well, you had
But yeah, I think
mentioned.
it's. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. You go.
Well, you had mentioned giants living in there, right?
Well, 12-foot people.
12-foot people. Okay. Um, because uh, with my next theory,
Ooh,
um,
good
it
segue.
yeah. So with my next theory, there are structures all over the world that from as far as we're aware, ancient technology may not have been able to, to do. If you look at the argument for how the pyramids were made, how different structures were made, those are tons and tons of big stone blocks being carried up uh, by humans with primitive technology, right?
Uh huh.
So my theory
Wait, are you
is,
about to talk about Stonehenge?
well, Stonehenge
I
being a
mean,
part of it. My
yeah.
theory in it of itself is that there had to have been some kind of ancient high um higher technology at play, whether it be aliens or
Ooh.
men of stronger like one of the parts of it is when people are trying to talk about how some of these structures have been made in the time that they have without like modern technology or anything like that is aliens having a part of it. Or there's also something I read where people thought that there were giants basically that lived back when all this stuff was being built, and they were strong men and they were able to carry these large blocks, but they were almost entirely wiped out by Noah's flood. um, so that was,
Interesting.
yeah, so that's where
Well, why wouldn't the formations be wiped out?
well, that's where I guess the article was like almost all of them were wiped out by Noah's flood, except for the ones like I guess there were some still around, and those were the ones that
And
helped with the
now they're
building and
in the
stuff.
Hollow Earth.
And now they're in the Hollow
Confirmed.
Earth, exactly. Yeah, so like you look at the structures. Like I read something earlier today where Stonehenge, where like we're trying to figure out exactly why people made Stonehenge. What was the reason? Like what's the meaning of Stonehenge, right? Um,
Right.
but apparently they found at somewhere holes in the side of like a granite wall that had been cut out specifically in the shape of those rocks that they had found that are in Stonehenge. So they were thinking, well, maybe Stonehenge is just a byproduct of another structure that had been built. Um,
Ooh.
yeah. So now, but then you think about it too. There's also, they cut the granite out of a wall of granite. Like,
How
how
do
are
they
they
do
able to do
that?
that? How, do they have what kind of drills do they have to drill the holes that people have found? There's all this stuff, and it's like really hard to explain how some of this stuff happened. I mean, we don't know exactly what happened. There's
It's
just
truly the people from the Hollow Earth.
it is.
Confirmed.
It is.
Confirmed. Yeah, I went to Stonehenge
Okay.
in December. Yeah, December. Went to Stonehenge in December, and it was very boring. No offense. It's a very like anticlimactic. Is that the term I'm going for? You go there and you're like, "Cool, this is
Look at all these rocks,
yeah, I thought this was gonna be way cooler," and then you turn around.
and there's just more
But
rocks.
yeah, but I am really interested in what's underneath Stonehenge because I don't think
Mm-hmm.
they've ever dug it up.
No.
Like what? Maybe if they dug it up, they'd find like a tomb or something, and it would explain that maybe Stonehenge is actually some sort of like I don't know remnant of like this huge burial thing, temple kind
Yeah.
of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like my like only question is why don't they dig it up? But I understand they want to preserve like what they have and it's a huge tourist attraction. It's honestly not that interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like it's a bunch of rocks
Yeah.
and they're really heavy and it's cool and it's like, oh, how'd they do that? But I wouldn't stare at Stonehenge for like a long time.
Yeah. No, I see that. I know.
And why not dig it up?
Well, because I guess they're not sure what it is, and if it's something, there's
Yeah, but
there's
that's a surefire way to figure out.
I mean, the scientists have like technology and stuff to be able to sonar and stuff that they're able to use to detect what's underground, and I think they might have been able to, because I know that a lot of the rocks aren't just like placed there, but they're like dug in, I think. So it's
Hmm.
more like, it's not like they're just stacked there, but they were dug in, and and we know that because of that technology, I think. So
Well, what about the like, so they have like big like mounds of dirt there,
mhm.
like with like grass that has grown over. Like I wonder if there's anything under there because typically like mounds of dirt, there's usually something under there. Not
Yeah.
usually, but like around t- types of things like this, like Stonehenge.
Yeah, it could
And it's
be.
not even
Mhm.
it's like pretty those are pretty far away from the like Stonehenge itself. So like why not? Like I understand the whole sonar thing, but like I'm curious. So
Yeah.
someone else has to be curious about it too.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty of people curious about it. I think the biggest roadblock in something like that is people always want to preserve like these ancient things, right? They don't want to destroy them
Yeah.
or make them.
Understandable.
Yeah, and I totally see that, but I get your point too. It's like, well, I mean, if we're trying to learn
I'm
from it,
curious.
yeah,
And
I need to know what's under there. Um,
those rocks were like so heavy.
yeah, they're
Like
tons, 50 tons.
they have this thing where you like they have like one of the stones or like maybe a replica of it and they like tell you to pull, but like it's so heavy they can't even do it.
Yeah,
Like how did the people stack them like that? Like
giants.
what technology did they have? Did they have cranes back then?
Well, I
Why
mean,
didn't they give us the blueprints? You know what? The blueprints are buried underneath and we just didn't get to them.
yeah. Well, yeah. So
That's it. We figured it out. Also, the aliens are living in the hollow Earth, and they helped build Stonehenge.
yeah.
I've got it. I've got it all figured out.
Well, the aliens could have just like used their hovering machine and lowered them on.
True, but why would the aliens do that?
I mean, ancient technology, man.
Why do aliens make crop circles?
That's a good question. What do you believe in aliens? Do you think that
Yes,
yeah, I do too.
yes, hard yes.
I do
There's
too.
no way that we're living in this universe alone.
Right?
There's no way.
There's no way. I'm on the same page. I think there was something where like some rocks brought back by the Mars rover or whatever had like fossils of like prehistoric bacteria on Mars, and now that might have been contaminated from like something that we sent there. But at the same time, it's like, what if it's not? What if it's just very early life, crazy conditions? There's no way that we were created, and that we're alone in this universe, because it's expansive and it's completely infinite. You know,
Oh, for real.
and
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I do believe in aliens, but whether or not we'll be able to see them or meet them, not sure
yeah,
because it's so hard to traverse space.
yeah,
Like, it's so incredibly difficult.
yeah,
And we could never do it. Like, I'm going to say that right now. We could never do it.
yeah. I don't
And also,
think.
aren't the universes like slowly separating
Yeah.
and like getting farther away from each other, making it like way harder to even find the aliens anyway. Unless
Yeah.
they live in the hollow moon and the hollow Earth, also the hollow moon. If they want to come out and see us, that'd be cool. I
Yeah.
need to know before I die if aliens exist.
Well, I mean, if we're not able to build the technology that is able to traverse space, like how are aliens going to be able to do it? Um.
Who knows? Who knows what they have?
Well, there's that. Who knows what they have? But like, if we're never able to do it, how is another society going to be able to do it? We're a
Well,
society of pretty highly intelligent like beings, right? Maybe not as
that's
intelligent
fair.
as like other things that might be out there, but we've been able to get by pretty well in advancing technology and stuff like that, and we're looking into and doing studies and this and that and this and that. The only thing that I think, if it is possible, then I think we can do it. Um,
Yeah,
the biggest, I think a big hard part of it would be government approval, because it's expensive to go into space in
yeah,
any sense. It's just really expensive, and a lot of the space stuff is government funded, and there's a point right now where there's not really much of a space race anymore, because we're not trying to get into space before another country. We have an international space
right.
station,
I
so
do you do you think I'm gonna pose this question?
okay.
Do you think there is someone on this earth who not genuinely, who believes and knows that there are aliens? Like they know for a scientific fact, not someone who like believes in it, but someone who knows, like maybe in the government or science. Do you think that there's someone on this earth who could confirm that they're aliens but cannot because of government, whatever that
um
would do to our earth?
i I don't know.
It's an
I
interesting question.
Yeah, I think there's I've heard so many stories over the years of people having encounters, right? I've heard so many stories over the years of different like sightings and different proofs and this and that and this and that, and like um I think that there could be someone on this planet that may know for a fact that aliens are have had contact with us or something like that. I I don't I that's hard. It's a hard question.
I want to say yes. I want to say there is someone, or at least someone who did know. Like maybe they're dead now, but like they knew
Yeah.
and like they had the information.
Yeah.
Do you think the president knows?
I don't
Probably
know.
not. He probably would have said something about it. Or
Yeah.
maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't care about it that
He
much.
would have hinted
Probably
at
doesn't
it.
care as much as we do. I care about the aliens. I want them to exist and
Yeah.
show themselves. Maybe they're
Yeah.
just waiting. Maybe they're just here already and biding their time
Yeah, they
till we're
could be
weak
infiltrating our government
as
and
a
trying to
whole.
take our jobs. Make them. Never
Oh my.
mind. um.
Well, I have another conspiracy theory that does
Okay.
not fit in with anything we've talked about yet,
Let her rip.
but it is the idea that we are living in a simulation.
Okay, I was thinking about
Now,
this
this
one.
is one of my very favorite conspiracy theories of all time, and it is probably the one that I believe the most. Um, there's this idea, and it's a purely religious idea that we this earth or this universe is the product of a creator. There's God, there's I don't know about any other religion, so I'm not going to continue this list,
Yeah.
but um this idea that we were created. But what if instead of being created by some religious figure, actually created by other human beings, we are a simulation? This is an interesting idea. Um, we are developing quantum computers, which it has an increased potential capacity vital for a large scale simulation. So even if we don't have a simulation now, even if we're not a simulation, there's a high chance that we will create this simulation ourselves, which is a very interesting point and really scary. But
Yeah.
there's also the continued progress in artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, all of that. Like, there's this game. I don't know if it's virtual reality. I don't care. It's called Detroit, and it's like new. This like new game. I saw it on the Game Grumps, um, and it's so realistic looking. It's like terrifying.
Mhm.
So we're getting closer and closer to creating this virtual reality that looks so close to our own. So it's reasonable to assume that the difference between reality and simulation will become indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane to me. And so, Elon Musk, the creator of Tesla,
Love him.
his conclusion is that it's a billion to one chance that we're not living.
Yeah.
Like, that is insane. But why would we be in a simulation? I don't know. But what's interesting to me about this conspiracy theories is that most conspiracy theorists are joked about. They're at the end. They're at the tail end of like jokes of about you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
people make fun of them. But what's interesting about this conspiracy theory is that there are two tech billionaires who are secretly engaging um, in studies and hiring scientists to prove that we're in a simulation and break us out of it.
Huh.
The fact that there are billionaires who believe in this is very interesting to me because, people who like conspiracy theories are made fun of. But like something like this, people are actually scared of this. People are actually believing in this,
Yeah.
let alone like people who have billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Um and um Neil deGrasse Tyson, I don't know anything about him. I know he's famous. But basically, he was on this podcast and he was talking about how to identify things that would show that we're in a simulation, which I don't know that, but I thought it was interesting. They said first to look out for glitches. And if you watch any Shane Dawson conspiracy theory video, you're bound to see some sort of video clip where he talks about some person like glitching, which is really interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about all of that, but they also said that, secondly, a simulation so advanced would not allow the beings inside it to prove that it is simulation.
Yeah.
And that point just tells me, like, oh, you're pretty much saying that we're not going to be able to prove it, therefore we are in a simulation. I feel like that's kind of a weak argument, but
It
and then
is.
lastly, what? I'm sorry.
It is, but I think that's why people are so afraid of it.
Yeah, it's such a scary thing that could be reality.
Mhm.
Finally, they say if and when scientists can run simulations, it would lead to massive power shortages in the original universe. And my final point, before we actually get to talk about this, because I'm really excited, is that there's some sort of thing that this professor dude is looking at. His name's James Gates. And
Mhm.
basically, he noted that the equations of string theory contain binary codes built in. And it said that these are the same codes that are used in computing for error correcting, which is very interesting. But some user online said it's not remarkable to see these coming up in string theory for some reason.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's really interesting because what if that does show that we're in a simulation?
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole argument of us being in a simulation is it's a valid one because there's not really a way for us to tell, and
But
that's
why
where,
would we be in a simulation?
well, why are we making simulations?
That's fair, but like, think about it, right? Like, I feel like a simulation would, us being in a simulation would imply that all of our, but why would you like come up with some, like, this compelling storyline if it's just like all fake? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you say, oh, everything will be in there?
Well,
Like,
I
there
mean,
are only a few small wars, but like, why would you ever include like world wars? You know what I mean?
here's a counter to that is that um Christians believe that God created everything as it was, right?
Right.
So, God created us as possibly a simulation, that like he he put us on this earth to see exactly what we would do. And now a lot of Christians say that he put us on this earth so we can worship him, um and that he just wanted the best for his creation. But like, if it goes to, well, you know maybe our God, the one that a lot of people are praying to is the guy who put us in the simulation. He's just another
Oh
guy
yeah.
in the world of people that are controlling our universe, but not because they're a higher being, but because they control our world.
Yeah, what if we're just like Sims in their game?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a it's definitely something that's on the table. It's there could be someone willing us to create this podcast right now. Um,
No, stop that. I don't like to think about that.
I'm
We're
gonna
two people in this billions of people world. You know what I
imagine
mean?
imagine making a simulation and then seeing like the people inside of it become self-aware of the simulation. Like I
Oh my
bet
god, what if?
like
What if?
and you look and they're trying to escape and you're like that's I mean that's a monster movie. That's like people coming in and uh, you know their creations destroying them,
Yeah.
robots taking over the world. You know.
What if like we are like a simulation, but like every time we go to sleep, it's like the person who's controlling us like taking a break? Like
Yeah.
what if I'm assigned, like what if it's just some kid like sitting on a sim, but
Yeah.
like I'm their sim, and when like I go to bed they kind of just live their life for like 8 hours.
Yeah. Well, I
I mean
mean
that wouldn't make any
that would
sense,
imply
but
constant control, like one-on-one
yeah.
control,
But
which
what if that's why my life is so horrible sometimes? It's like my controller being like, haha, I love
malfunctioning, you're out of batteries,
angsty drama,
angsty
you
drama.
know?
Yeah,
Or
my
like what
simulation's
if
out of batteries.
it's like, oh my god, it's just besides the whole Sims factor, like the thing I just came up with, like the fact that we could just be part of some simulation.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many other simulations could there be?
I mean,
Or
yeah,
like what if it's a simulation inside of a simulation? Are we becoming too self-aware right now? Maybe.
maybe there's three
What's
simulations. But what if we're the third tier down?
Yeah, what if we're about to create our own
What
simulation?
if we're like the millionth tier down? What if like all of
What
this
if
just doesn't exist? If aliens exist, I swear it's because it's a simulation.
what if like they're trying to get it right? Like the people before us are like trying to get this new world right, but like someone messed it up and now we've just gone to shambles. And they're kind of just letting us die now.
It sounds like the
Global
plot to an
warming.
episode of Rick and Morty, but
Oh my god, what?
but like okay, so think of this, right? Space is infinite, right? It goes on forever. There's no end. We can't see an end. There's that we have the visible the we can only see as far as the light has been able to travel in the time that the universe has been created to us, right?
Yeah,
What's beyond that? We can't see what's beyond that. We just
right.
can't see it. Like whether or not it's in our um like we can see it on a telescope is up to the time it takes for the light to get here, which can be just created. What if it's a wall, you know? What if it's a wall at the end of the simulation? What if space in and of itself is just the developer being lazy and not trying to program anymore, just saying, "Yeah, it's forever."
Yeah, it's forever. Just accept it.
Yeah.
What if
It's just
like
lazy
people?
writing.
What if like the glitches are like real? What if
Mhm.
Mandela effects are like glitches?
Yeah, right. And it's always been because it's just always will be, because it's
Yeah,
fixed in the simulation.
because how do you explain Mandela effects? Like how you can't like a whole huge group of people believe one thing and then one day it's like different,
It's different, like
and it's
Chick-fil-A,
not just
right?
one person. What?
Have you heard the Chick-fil-A Mandela effect one?
No, you have to tell me this.
Okay, so
Oh my
like
god.
how would you
Sorry for
spell
the tangent, but these are all like,
how would you
interconnected.
how would you spell Chick-fil-A? Maybe this won't work on you because you've been there a lot recently.
Chickfila.
Okay.
Chick fil A.
Okay. Up until like last year, I me and many, 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 many other people spelled it Chikfila.
You know why? Probably
Why?
because of those their ads.
Well, yeah, and that's where the whole Mandela effect comes from the fact that maybe people just got confused
Do
with
their
their
ads
ads.
not say CHIK?
I don't think
Do they
so.
say C? Oh my God, no, because that would be a Mandela effect for me.
Here, let me
Oh
let
my
me
God, we
see.
have to look this up. This was not planned. Chick-fil-A posters, whatever they're called.
Eat more. Okay, it is spelled Chikin.
It is like on the signs, but it doesn't say Chick-fil-A. It just
Yeah.
says chicken. Eat more chicken.
The CK though in the logo doesn't seem right for me. Well, there's also the Berenstain Bears,
Oh
Berenstain.
yeah, that is
That
that
messed me up.
scares me.
That messed me up.
And Reba McEntire. Like, since when has her last name been spelled like that?
I don't know who that is, so.
That's okay. It's a big Mandela effect.
Yeah,
But like, oh my God, how like what if these Mandela effects are just
they're
glitches?
just glitches because they're just changed. They can't. I mean, they. I guess maybe there's a part of our brain that might not be controlled entirely by them, and that's what the simulation is, right? And so when glitches happen, there's continuity mistakes.
Oh
Continuity
my
is a
God.
is important if you're trying to make a simulation, right? People
Oh,
are gonna understand
definitely.
continuity is the reason why lucid dreams happen. People realize, hey, this doesn't make any sense, and so they realize
That's
that they're in
so
a
great.
dream.
It's just so crazy.
What
The,
if what if the simulation is just some guy's lucid dream?
oh my God, I want it to stop. Is he in a coma?
Oh
There's
my
a
god.
really long lucid dream.
Yeah, well, like
What if this whole thing's a dream?
time. Well, yeah, right. You wake up and you're like 10 years old.
I hope not.
Yeah, right. Me too.
Oh my God.
But yeah. So I mean, there's it's the whole the idea of a simulation is just really interesting, especially because you see like theories about time and how time isn't like real. It's just like our brain is drawing things out, or
Listen,
the universe is drawing us
time
out.
is real. I don't care what anyone says, time is real.
Time is real.
And
How do
there's
you
a
know?
reason for it.
How do you know?
Because the sun rises and sets. That's time.
Yeah, but what if time all just happened in an instant, but it's
The
just
only
us
thing that
drawing
is
it out.
man-made, the only thing that is man-made about time is put numbers to it. And the fact that we decided that day is when we're going to be awake and night is when we're asleep. That
Yeah,
is what I believe. I
but
believe time is real because the sun rises and sets,
okay.
and the number portion is the man-made concept.
Well,
Like,
okay.
there's no reason for it to be 11:15 p.m. for because
Yeah.
that's just a number.
Yeah.
It is nighttime. That's a time.
Yeah.
Nighttime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense. Here's the thing for me though, um and this is my argument back is that okay, when you're asleep, you don't feel time pass, because you're not conscious. In the millions and millions
Yeah.
of years that there were before humans, like there was it's gone. It's happened and it's gone. Time in and of itself doesn't have a set like passing. If you fly by a black hole, you're moving through time slower than people who aren't. So when with that in mind, like you look at something that like you look at how again when we're asleep we don't understand time. So time is in and of itself is just a way for us to validate every day going by, you know what I mean?
Fair enough. We can understand it. We don't agree, but I understand.
And I'm not saying I believe it either, but that's just
That's
another
okay.
thing to think about. Like,
Ugh, I'm gonna have so much to think about before I go to bed.
yeah,
So many conspiracy theories.
yeah.
Are we living in a simulation? Is the Earth hollow? Who knows? Are aliens real? Did they make Stonehenge?
Find out next time.
Did they make mattress firm?
More at 11.
We're at 11. This is ABC 7 News
ABC 7 News. More at 11.
reporting to you live. More at 11. That's great. All right. What
All
do you
right.
say?
Um, I think it was kind of short, but we've kind of run out of things to talk about. So,
That's
um,
fair. We can always do another like conspiracy
yeah, for sure.
type
So,
of episode later.
um, yeah, I guess I'll do the outro here. Um, thanks everyone for stopping by and taking a listen. We really appreciate it. We'll be doing this
Taking
every
a
week.
listen.
Taking a listen, taking a look and listening with your ears to our podcast. I'll
Thank you
try to.
so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll try to get stuff on SoundCloud. I'll post something to YouTube, but since we didn't do any kind of webcam this episode, it'll just be the regular logo. So I'll just probably post the
Yeah.
VOD and then post the actual audio and everything to SoundCloud. So for
Yeah,
a
get
better
that out tonight.
experience. Yeah.
And I'll be sending it to all my favorite people.
Yup.
Not my least favorite people.
So I
That
won't
would
be
be
getting it.
weird. Right. You're my co-host. I sent it to you. You always listen to it anyway.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna cut it there. Thanks guys for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Stay keep working toward your progress.